Hello. Welcome to Unboxing Alyss, the YouTube channel with a robot box that unboxes things. I don't even need to show you this time. I'm Alistair Frost, and today we are going to cover Ponyville Ciderfest 2024. Let me get out of this. There we go. I'm more comfortable now. So, Ponyville Ciderfest 2024 occurred the first week of November of this year, and it was a ton of fun, and I cannot wait to tell you about it. It was just also a lot. And unfortunately, I don't have my cheat sheet. Well, my cheat sheet is my phone, my other phone. I'm recording on the S9. I regularly use the S24, and yeah, that's too small. I can't read it. So bear with me. Hopefully, I can remember everything. But yeah, it started. I actually kind of started like before Ciderfest because the week before Ciderfest, I'd come back from Japan, and I was still jet lagged, and I also came back sick. So I've been dealing with that like all weekend, or I'm sorry, like all week before Ciderfest. Thankfully, the sickness kind of wormed its way out of me, so that was great. I actually did take off. I'm sorry if this is squeaking, by the way. For some reason, I guess this is being a little annoying. My bad. Anyway, I did take off that Thursday. Like I think it was the October 31st, technically. Yeah. So I went with two of my friends, and we were supposed to leave, I think, around like 2 because I had an Alicorn sponsor badge, and I wanted to get there early to see if I could, pick up that badge. And it took a bit more time. The morning didn't go the way I wanted it to, so we kind of left a little late. I also had to clean. I probably should have taken Grandma's Secret Spot Remover with me. I did not do that. But a friend of mine had some stains on one of her favorite pony plushies, and she asked me if I could get it out. I actually could, so yay. I guess plug for Grandma's Secret Spot Remover. I actually use it for my fursuit when I'm cleaning, like, my feet paws and things like that don't go in the washing machine. So yeah, that gets pretty much anything out, and you can find it at, like, like Amazon, but you can find it at Walmart too. So yeah, I got that out, and we headed out, maybe around like 2:15, something like that. And we got there a little late, but it's fine. I was able to get my badge, and I had an Alicorn sponsor badge. It's like its own line, which is really nice. And this is my first time at Ciderfest with a sponsor badge. I had the Spike badge last year, but that's not a sponsor badge. So the sponsors get like their own lines and certain things, and registration was part of that, which is great. Because when we got there, the line for registration, like regular registration, was like this. And when I got down there to get my badge, the line for the sponsorship was me. It's basically it. So my two friends had, well, I think Pink Sands had a Spike badge, and Jello Dancer had like a standard badge. So they had to go in the bigger line, but they actually they did the line a lot better than I've seen in some conventions, like especially like conventions that are 10 times the size of Ciderfest. But they had it so you were lined up by your last name, so they had A through whatever, and this through this, and that through that. So that helped things go a lot faster. So it didn't take them too long to get their badges either. In addition to my badge, I also was given like they had like a random box of like pony toys, and I could pick one. So I got like a Princess Cadence with boots. I guess you'll see her in the next video when I talk about merch, but cool. Oh, and I forgot to mention, yeah, there'll be pictures, thrown about here in this video like usual. There may be certain events where there's a specific picture for it, but other than that, you're just probably going to see like random pictures from time to time on maybe both sides. Anyway, so after we kind of got checked in and settled, we did get some dinner. Oh, actually, I forgot to mention, when we got there and I went to go check in because this stuff is under my name, yeah, we asked for two queen beds, and they ran out of queens. And so, yeah, they're okay. And I was like, no. Oh, they're like, we have two doubles. I was like, queen does not equal double. The queens are bigger, just so you know. I believe it goes like twin, double, queen, king, and then California king in terms of bed size. So I was like, no. We're paying the same price, and we're getting less bed. And I was like, can I get like a free breakfast or something like that? And she went back and talked to her manager, and yes, so we got actually free breakfast like all weekend because I was not happy with that. So yes, I became that person, and I'm actually okay with that because it drives me nuts when hotels do this. This is why we lost our Hyatt place and were shoved into the Hilton at MFF a couple years ago because hotels and airlines actually frequently overbook because they expect some people to not show up. But when everyone shows up, it's chaos. So I don't really feel bad for that because they need to stop overbooking their hotel. They know exactly how many doubles they have. They know exactly how many queens they have. So there should have been a queen room when we got there. So there, that happened. I'm probably going to routinely adjust this too because you know that it hurts the back of my head. So we went to George Webb for dinner. It was just nice and close. It was like it was actually across the street from the hotel, which is really nice. And I think there was like a homeless guy there, and he was just like sleeping, honestly. And the proprietor, or not the like, I don't know if she was a cook or the owner or both, but she just didn't care. She's just asking, "Do you need more water?" Da da da. She was just like, it was a late night, and she just done. But she was still really nice and everything, and got everything for us, and she was really cool. And while we were there was another guy who was also homeless who came in, or unhoused, I guess. I'm not sure. They changes, but another unhoused guy came in and was saying, went to the first guy. He's like, "Hey, you guys, you just hang out with us. We're like just down the way." Da 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 da. And he's like, "Oh, okay." He's like, "Yeah, bring your stuff." Da da da. That was really nice, actually, to see just people looking out for each other, and this owner having compassion for people who are less fortunate. That was actually really cool to see. So, and I think I had like a chili and I think a BLT. I was trying to stick to my points. That squeaking driving me nuts now. But that same night, I had actually planned to volunteer. I thought I'd signed up for volunteering like months ago. Apparently, I didn't. But I had been in contact with the head of security. I went ahead and signed up for security. That's what I do for GFM, so I know security at the very least. And I think she had gone to the pub trot, so she's like, "Oh, I'll just talk to you tomorrow." I was like, "Cool." So we just kind of hung out in the rest of the room, or the rest of the night in the room, myself, Pink Sands, and Jello Dancer. And I did spend part of that time trying to fix Jello Dancer's plush. I can't remember where the plush is from. It's not one of his OCs. It's from something specific. It was really cute, but it had like pigtails, and one of her pigtails was like gotten torn off. And since I could sew, he asked me if I could repair it, and I was actually able to, and I thought it came out pretty good. I don't have pictures of that. I also spent this time ironing my Princess Luna outfit, which you'll see in a picture later on. Part of the Ciderfest convention is a Grand Galloping Gala, which is also a thing in the show. It's this big fancy party in the show where mainly higher class ponies go. It takes place in Canterlot, and it's hosted by Princess Celestia, and I guess kind of Princess Luna, maybe. I don't really know, but Princess Celestia is definitely there. And it is a fancy party for fancy ponies to meet and mingle, and just think of like every rich person event ever, I guess. But in the show, the main six get to go for the first time at the end of that first season. So, but it's a really nice event. It does require dressing up. It's actually in the program booklet and everything. Do not come in like jeans or t-shirts or anything like that. Please come in like business casual at the very least. Which my friend Peak Sands did not read because I don't know if the Spike Badge came with a ticket to the gala or if she bought it separately, but she didn't bring anything formal, so she just decided not to go. And I actually did hear there were people being turned away because they weren't dressed properly. So yeah, they took it very seriously. So I had like an old kimono that was Luna themed, and I just went ahead and took that. It actually fits now. Well, I mean, it fit in the past, but it still fits, kind of, sort of, maybe. So that was kind of my option. I spent that night also ironing that because it's a lot of parts and it was wrinkly as all get out. So I did that while they played Mario Party, and I just watched them play Mario Party on what's Peak Sands Switch. So that was fun to watch because I haven't played Mario Party in years. I have Mario Party on my Wii, but I don't have any other Nintendo systems. So yeah, all the other iterations of it, I don't know. This was definitely one Well, the newer ones, I didn't recognize it at all, but it still looked a lot of fun. And kind of crashed a bit later on. That was kind of the night, but that's Thursday night. Most Thursday nights for cons aren't a big deal. I did also go through the con booklet to see kind of what I wanted to see and what I wanted to do, but at the same time, again, I'm volunteering, so I can only do so much, and I would have to kind of juggle that, and I didn't juggle it very well, but we'll get to that. So Friday rolls around. I actually got up at 7. Sorry, JD. Sorry, Peeps. You guys got up really early. Well, they briefly woke up when my alarm went. But I went to exercise and, get ready. And, of course, I had to shower after I exercised. But we got our free breakfast, which was really nice. Unfortunately, the first day, it wasn't the buffet, which the buffet would have been faster. And I was supposed to meet the head of security at 10. And so, yeah, they were doing made-to-order stuff, which can be nice, but not really when you're on a time crunch and not when they're cooking fairly slowly, so that kind of sucks. But I did get there on time. I just had to, wolf down my food and almost choke on it, but whatever. So I got to ConOps, and I was supposed to get on Slack, which a lot of conventions can be using. GFM uses it as well for, team members. And that wasn't working. I'm not a fan of Slack, honestly. This is the only time I use it for PVCF as well as GFM. Like at work, we don't use that. We use Teams and WebEx. So, because we're, with state government. We're Illinois state government. That's what Illinois tends to use. So, couldn't get that to work. I also need to sign up in the Eventbrite as a volunteer, and that was closed. So I was like, well, what do I do? And I did let the head know, oh, by the way, I'm a sponsor. I was hoping to get into the dealer's den a little early because sponsors get early access, like a half an hour before general public, which can be advantageous. There was one, I'm pretty sure she was there last year, Rubio Wolf, one of the big plushie makers at this convention. I saw her once, when I went down Friday before the main area opened, and I think she had 2 plushies left, and after that, the entire weekend, I never saw her, because she constantly sold out. I think she was selling out during the sponsor segments. So, yeah, it can be very advantageous to be able to go in early, especially if you're looking for plushies and certain very one-of-a-kind things like that, because they absolutely will sell out. But I didn't get a plushie this time. But I did look around. I did get a few things. All the merch will be covered in the next video, so don't worry about that. And I kind of missed the opening ceremonies. I think I meant to go. But after that, I went back to ConOps to try and get all this situated. Well, I went upstairs and tried accessing Slack on my Steam Deck, which I could, but I could access it on the desktop version, or I'm sorry, the web version, but not, I need it on my phone because I don't want to carry my Steam Deck around with me all weekend just to, remain in contact with a group. So we were finally able to get it to work. The vendors, or the volunteer, tier for Eventbrite was still closed. Luckily, Charlie, the con chair, I'm sorry, was in the office working on other things. He was able to quickly open that up, so I could finally sign up to volunteer. And so now I'm kind of in their system, but not really. I don't think I ever ended up in their system all weekend, but they knew I was there, so it was fine. They gave me a little walkie-talkie. They gave me this shirt, the shirt I'm wearing right now, and it says Royal Guard on it, which is the security team. Is it my favorite colors? No, not really, but it doesn't really matter. It's a very visible shirt with that teal and that bright pink. It's very visible, and as a volunteer, you want to be visible to attendees, especially if you are security. So this works really well. It's something I'll probably bring up to GFM. I don't think we had separate volunteer or team member shirts last year. We just had the same shirts that congoers did. I think we had ribbons that said staff, but that can be really hard to see. So I might bring that up and see if we can get separate shirts for people who actually work the con. So that would be nice, and it's just nicer for attendees to know who's in charge, per se. So yeah, that's definitely a cool idea. And with GFM, they even had different different shirt colors for different groups. So a standard volunteer had pink, and Royal Guard had this shirt, and AB had purple. So it was pretty easy to distinguish, who are volunteers, and specifically who is just a volunteer, who's AV, and who's part of security. So it was really nice. So I was able to get that, and I think I went on duty like 3 to 6. Before that, I had a autograph session, and I had 3 autograph vouchers that came with the Alicorn sponsor tier or badge tier. And you can look on the website and see all of the voice actors who were there, but real quickly, Claire, the voice of Sweetie Belle, was there. Her husband, Black Griffin, was there. I had no clue who Black Griffin was. Apparently, he does music and maybe some voice acting. Bahia is the voice of Misty Bright Dawn in G5. Anna is the voice of Izzy Moonbow, also in G5. We had Giles, Patton again, who is the voice of, oh my god, his name is failing me. Dang it. Flash Sense, no, Flash 3? No. Flash Magnet, I did it. He is in Gen 4, he is one of the 6 pillars, and he was there last year, and he's one of the voice actors that just goes really all out, and he just gets all into it, and I absolutely love that. In addition to him, we had Ellie Ray again, who is the voice of Miss Main in G4 and Grandma Figgy in G5. And I've told you about Ellie Ray before, who is, I'm pretty sure she's at least 70 and does not act like it. Unlike her characters, who are these grandmotherly figures. I mean, she is, grandmotherly in age, but she acts nothing like a grandma. She's always all over the place, and I love her. I think they called her the Mistress of Chaos in the comic book, and that's exactly what she is. So apt a description for her. But I wanted to get autographs of Bahia, Misty Bright Dawn, Anna, Izzy Moonbow, and then Claire, don't know her last name, I'm sorry, Sweetie Belle from G4, one of the CMCs. So and this is an instance where being a sponsor is cool, because you don't have to stand in the giant line with everybody else. You have your sponsor line, and it's great. So I went in there, and I went to Misty first, or I'm sorry, I went to Bahia. I'll use the actual voice actor's names and not their character names now. But Bahia was really awesome. I fell in love with Misty the second I saw her. I mentioned this in other videos. I probably mentioned this at Ciderfest last year, and I've shown you pictures of Misty. But she has textured hair, which I have as well. It's much curlier than Misty's. I have 4C here. I'm not sure what type of hair the character or indeed the voice actor has, but they both have very textured hair. And she had her textured hair when she was at the convention. In some photographs of her, it's very straight, so she's clearly straightened it in those pictures. But she had her natural hair at the convention, and I let her know that when I saw Misty, immediately I felt seen. As weird as that sounds, because Misty's a pony and not a person, but it's kind of hard to describe. But this is a bad example. But when the new Little Mermaid came out, regardless of how you feel about that movie, no, it wasn't my favorite either. It wasn't the worst remake I also saw either. It was fine. But when they announced that Ariel was going to be played by a black woman, and she had locks and everything, there were so many little black girls, and black women for that matter, who just lost their minds because they felt seen. And that's how I felt with Misty, as well as, oh my gosh, what was her name? Dang it. Oh, Ruby Jubilee. She was only in technically 2 episodes. But she had actual locks, which that is what I have underneath all of this. I have locks for hair. I have locks my hair. And seeing things like that is really amazing. A lot of people don't think about it because the way they look tends to be the norm. But for those of us where our phenotypical features are not the norm in society, it's really nice to see it. And I let her know that, as well as Misty is best character, and I let her know that as well, because Misty was the one with character development. She was actually very well written, and also the others were not written as well, so that also helped her. But I enjoyed talking to Bahia fairly briefly because this is an autograph session, so we're not having a long drawn out conversation. You do not have time, but I really enjoyed meeting her. And then with Anna, because Claire was not there the first day, so I was gonna have to get her autograph on Saturday. Anna is very bubbly. Like Izzy Moonbow is the bubbly character. Unfortunately, I didn't care for Izzy as much. I'm not a huge fan of bubblier characters, though in the movie A New Generation she was fine. She was bubbly, but she was grounded. And I've mentioned this before because I've ranted about G5 before and how they messed up a lot of the characters. With Izzy, she suddenly became very dumb and very inconsiderate, which was very strange, especially in Tell Your Tale. And this has nothing to do with the voice actors. Voice actors generally, or actors period, generally have nothing to do with the way the writing is, barring some instances. So this is not a dig at Anna. This is not a dig at Bahia or any other voice actor in the show. It just wasn't written as well, or rather, Izzy wasn't written as well. But when I met Anna and the way she interacted with the Congoers, and again how bubbly she is, it made me like her character more, to be perfectly honest, because she just seemed to embody Izzy Moonbow, which was really cool. And I let her know, because at this time I wasn't a huge fan of Izzy, but I'm getting her autograph. I'm not going to tell her all the negative things I just said. But I let her know that Izzy's creativity inspires me, because Izzy's the unicycling character that loves creating different things and is very crafty. And I consider myself crafty as well. I do make plushies. One's down here. And Discord I was going to bring out, but he won't stay on my neck because my neck's too big right now in fursuit. And I didn't want to just lay him on my knee because it'll just fall off anyway. So sorry, Discord's not in this video. But I'll put a picture of him up here just so you have a reminder of what he looks like. So I admire that in Izzy, and I let her know that. And after the autographs, I had bought something specific for them to autograph in the dealer's den. I didn't have as much. I have more for Missy because I actually do like that character. And again, I like Izzy more, but before meeting Anna, I didn't as much. So I don't really have a lot of things with Izzy on them. So I was like, what am I going to have them sign? I could have had them sign the con poster that has all the guests of honor on it. You'll see that in the next video. But after that, I went on duty from 3 to 6, and then I stopped and got ready for the gala, because the gala was started at 7. And when it comes to me going on and off duty, it was kind of my own schedule, because I had joined the volunteer gig so late. They had already made a schedule, so the head basically said, yeah, you can just make your own hours, just make sure you work 20 hours. I was like, fine. So I was like, oh, that's a lot. Well, with GFM, I think 10 is required, but as a team member, I worked like 42. So it can be done, though I got a late start Friday, so I was kind of scrambling a little bit to get some hours, but I did get them all in. So I got ready for the gala, I put my stuff on. Now, I didn't know anybody down there, so I just kind of went, and I sat. They had hors d'oeuvres, which was really nice, because that was dinner. I made that my dinner, so I didn't have to go buy dinner. And I just kind of sat and listened to the music. I didn't know, I don't know the name of the group that was performing, sorry. I think they had a DJ later. I don't know the name of the DJ, so sorry. But, everyone looked like they were having fun. I got up and I danced a little bit, and I got some pictures taken. I could have bought the pictures afterwards. I was given the link to that, but I just didn't like the pictures, so. There was nothing that the photographer did, it's just, I didn't like the way I posed, so I was like, I'll just forget it. I just hit myself with the nose. But after that, I was there till about like 8:30, something like that. Went back, changed, and went on duty around 9:15. And that just consists of a lot of roaming around the area and just looking around. That's what I do at GFM. I also did some line management, and that was interesting. Just asking people if you need any help, I'm like, no, we're fine. No, you come help me. Okay. So the panel for the line for this the panel that this line was for, I know English, was the After Dark vendor panel, or a vendor hall, and it's basically what I just said. It's the vendor hall is just selling 18 plus stuff, so obviously you need to be 18 to get in. And Ciderfest is going to take this very seriously. Any con worth its salt is going to take that very seriously because that can get you in serious trouble if a minor ends up in an area where 18 plus merch is being prominently displayed. Like I mentioned before with like MFF for instance, there's no dealer, there's no 18 plus dealer hall. Same with GFM, we don't have that. So there are going to be some vendors that do sell 18 plus merch. It just cannot be visible. So because there are a lot of families that go to these things, and you don't want them to round a corner in a dealer's den and see some stuff. So, but with the 18 plus, it's going to be out. And they had this line that, okay, so it was like over there. The vendor hall was like over there, and you cross through like a hallway, and you come all the way out to the main area, and you're looping around, and you're going around the escalator, and here's the end of the line over here. And one of the other volunteers just placed me over here to make sure people didn't try and cut in line here, because like I said, the line goes this way and ends over here, not over here. So I did that for a while. I did make some people angry because they were trying to clearly cut in. I was like, no, I saw you. These people have been waiting in this line for literally an hour. You are going to do the same. Go that way. Yes, I sound mean. I'm doing my job. This is literally what I was told to do, to keep order and be security. So you're free to hate me all you want. This is my job, and I do take it seriously. But that went pretty well. They were checking, obviously your badges to make sure you belong to this convention, but they're also checking IDs. And not only are they checking your birthday to make sure you're 18, but they also had lights to make sure it was a real ID. And that can vary depending on where your ID is from. I did see some states have very fancy stuff that appears under like UV light or black light or whatever it was, and others don't have anything. Like, I think Illinois is, like, boring and barely had anything. I was like, oh, we suck. Why don't we have cool stuff like, I don't know, Missouri or, like, Oklahoma or whatever? And I also saw a bunch of badges or a bunch of IDs that weren't from the States. We had people from, all over the place. It was really cool. Mainly Europe, but it was really cool. I think I did that until, like, 1 something. And I think I got off at, like, 2. And I, went and turned in my walkie-talkie, and I think Pink Sands and JD were in the room and watching What We Do in the Shadows, the show, not the movie. I'd heard of the movie. I thought I'd heard of a show, I wasn't sure, but I started watching that because it's just playing in the background, and we just marathoned that like all weekend. It's actually a really funny show, and I do want to watch it like from start to finish. But I shower and get ready for the next day. I did not go to the gym the rest of the weekend because it's too much. Now that I'm working, it's too much. So that's just how things are going to work. So like when I go to MFF, and technically next weekend, it's Thanksgiving. It's Black Friday. That's when I'm filming. That's when I'm filming this. I will not be volunteering, so I'll be able to go to the gym in the morning and all of that. So that was Friday. With Saturday, I went to the early dealer hall, and I bought some stuff here and there. You'll see all this in the next video. And after that, I got ready for the autograph session with Claire. I think at 2. So I got there like 1:30, and they weren't there. And here's the issue: they double booked. They booked Claire and I think Black Griffin in another panel at 2 or at 1 or whatever. So yeah, they can't autograph anything until like later. So they told people to come back at 2. So I think I got down there like 1:30 or whatever. And at this point, I just want to sleep. I was going to get this autograph and sleep for like an hour and a half, and then I was going to go to the sponsor dinner. But I went back and took a tiny nap. Came back down at 2. Their panel ended at 2:30, not 2. I didn't know that. But they told us to come back at 2, so a lot of us were angry because they had us come back earlier than we needed to. And even at 2:30, it took them a while to get there. And it was just frustrating because I was going to do the Ponyville trivia, or the Pony Show trivia with Pink Sands and JD, because I hadn't done much of anything with them this week. And this is where I kind of messed up. I didn't allow time for myself to do some things I wanted to do. I also didn't allow some time for me to spend with the friends I came with. I was so busy, so laser focused on getting hours. That's what I prioritize, and I can't do that in the future. I have to balance that better. But I was able to get to Pony Show trivia like at 3:05 or 3:10, so I missed a few questions. But I still had a lot of fun. There were a couple questions where I was like, okay, that's worded really weird. I don't know about that. Those one actually went up, and I basically became a lawyer for like a few minutes. And like, okay, well, you said this and this, but it applies to here in this episode and this. We just go, but no, we meant this. And I was like, okay, all right, fine. This is kind of a little BS, but okay. I'm muttering to myself now. But we finished like in the middle of the pack, which is fine. There was three of us, and then another group of three came in later. And like there were two that just kind of sat there and enjoyed the ride, but like the one woman in their group was like seriously trying to remember stuff. There were a couple times I got things wrong. I was pretty sure it's X. It was totally Y. I felt so bad. No, I'm sorry, but we still had a lot of fun. And after that, I believe I went on duty for a bit until. Oh no, I'm sorry, I didn't. It was because it was time for the sponsor dinner. So the what do you call it? The trivia was like 3 to 4. So it was only like 3 rounds. I've been to other trivia where they have like 10 rounds, but those were like 3-hour trivia sessions. So I went to the sponsor dinner because it's part of my package. I paid for it, and I was like, sure, go meet the sponsors, whatever. I've been to that at GFM because I was a super sponsor there, but with GFM and like furry conventions, they tend to have one guest of honor, and it's usually a community artist. So a person that half the time I've never heard of, like when they had Talenchi, I knew who she was. When they had Ferret Studios, I knew who she was. But there were others like I don't know who you are, and there were some instances where the guest of honor wasn't at the dinner. So I was like, well, I don't know who you are, and I can't meet you because you're not here. But all of the guests of honor were at this dinner, and the way they situated it was the guest of honor sat at the table, and you just picked what table you wanted to sit at, and there was space at Bahia's table, so that's where I went. And they had a really nice spread. It kind of reminded me of the food that they serve at our Teamsters like holiday banquet, which is actually in a few weeks. So it's just very nice spread. It was like an open bar, or like you got your first drink for free, and I think I got like a mocktail or whatever. The lady in the awesome Pinkie Pie costume got in front of me. I just grabbed that because I didn't really feel like alcohol. I don't drink very often, so. And no, we got to talk to Bahia. We were initially a little like apprehensive. It's like we didn't know how to approach her, which is stupid because she is person. Just treat her as person. But I did actually take my Akina with me to that dinner. I had Discord with me for most of the weekend because he could just sit around my shoulders. Obviously not when I'm in suit, but when I'm out of suit, he can just sit on my shoulders. I didn't take my suit, by the way. I just got kind of weird looks last year, so I just didn't bother. Pink Sand was considering taking hers, and she just didn't either. There were like 3 fursuiters there, so they seem to be having a good time, and I'll put a picture of them up here. They seem cool. But I did take Akina to the dinner, and I got a lot of compliments on her. I was really surprised because I know everything that's wrong with this thing, including the fact that she's missing her top headband because I ran out of gold and I couldn't find anymore. But I really, it made me feel good because I am just a hobby plushie maker. I'd like to turn this into a business at one point, but I don't feel like I'm good enough because I'm a perfectionist and I will never be good enough, and B, I don't have time. But it really made me feel good that a lot of people liked my plushies. Her and then Discord later when they saw him. But we talked about a lot of different things, some like movies and TV and things we were interested in. We did ask her some questions about the show, and I probably got a little too negative. I felt bad, and I apologize. But I did ask questions like, was it like were there different ways of shooting, or I'm sorry, voice acting, between like tell your tale and make your mark because they're set up very differently. they're the same show. Well, not same show, but they are have the same characters. They're all canon, but they are the style's very different. And she's like, yeah, it was a bit different. I never shot anything like that. I said, to be fair, I've never seen anything like that. And we all kind of laughed. But I did let her know how, and we talked about how much we love Misty. And I said part of that is because she got a lot of character development. I also think because she wasn't in the movie A New Generation, that might have been to her advantage because, as I mentioned before, a lot of the main five at the time in A New Generation, their personalities changed, and most of the time it wasn't good. With Pip, she was probably the only one that had a positive change because they fleshed her out more. And Zip didn't change too much, but with the other three, they changed it and it wasn't positive. Missy didn't have that because she wasn't in the movie. So we kind of met her in the show and we got to see her grow. And so we had really good conversations, and at the end of it, we actually got a picture, and I was really surprised. Because when you have your little autograph voucher, you can get a picture or an autograph, but not both. Unless you have a combo voucher, which I think the higher tiers did. There's only 2 higher tiers than me. The Equestria sponsor absolutely has that. Don't know if the Celestial one does or not. You have to check online, because I'm pretty sure they still have the tiers mentioned or listed, as well as what's in them. But, we got a picture with Bahia, which I will put up here. And I absolutely love it, and it looks great, and it's amazing. And so at one point in the dinner, they had it was Creativity Unleashed. That was the theme. I need to start remembering the theme and telling you the theme at the beginning of this video, but I keep forgetting. And I don't do a lot with the theme, so sorry. But at one point, with part of this theme, a guy dressed as Discord came in and, stole the voice actors, and we had to, cheer and use kazoos and call them back. And I was given a kazoo, and that's when I realized I don't remember how kazoos work, so I could not get it to make any noise. But that was a fun little thing they threw in there for the sponsors, and we all had a lot of fun. And of course, at the very end, when they were trying to clean the room out, because there was a social hour right after that for all sponsors except, I think, Super Sparkle. For some reason, they are not allowed to go. But as now, of course, I can go, and I had no idea this was a thing. I was like, oh, well, I guess I'm going to this too. Cool. They were cleaning off the table, and there was just glitter. It's like a glitter bomb exploded on this table. And one of the people cleaning is like, oh my god, who did this? What happened here? And I said, I think Ellie Ray happened there. She's like, dang it, Ellie Ray! It's because there was glitter everywhere. That's exactly what Ellie Ray does. I think she had silly string last year, and people complained about that because that can get a little messy, especially with my hair type. It's easy for things to get caught in my hair. I wear a hair bonnet at night when I sleep just to keep lint out of my hair, because if lint gets its way into locks and you don't pull it out, it lives there. So yeah, I do not want to mess with silly string in my locks. So they gave her a bubble wand instead, which is fine because it's just soap water. It's whatever, and it was very whimsical and magical, and it's great. So after that, they cleaned the place up, and we had our social hour, which is it's a lot more informal. In the dinner, you're sitting with a specific guest of honor, and that's who you're interacting with. But with a social hour, you can go wherever you want, and the guest of honor just kind of roaming around. I was going to make a beeline for Bahia, but I ended up talking to a couple, and I kind of followed them in when we were waiting for them to reopen the room. It was the same couple that ran the trivia, and I apologized to them because I was like, it wasn't that serious. They just wanted to make sure I had fun. I was like, yeah, I absolutely did. I did not mean to lawyer at you. I'm so sorry. And they're like, yeah, we totally thought you were a lawyer. I was like, no, I am nothing close to a lawyer. I didn't have the personality to be a lawyer, so no. But we were really cool after that. And when I went in, I just kind of followed them in, and they kind of went to Anna. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll stay with Anna for a bit. And she was asking people, what they do and what, their interests and all of that. And it was really cool spending time with her because, again, she is so bubbly. And it's really infectious, and I absolutely loved it. Though, while we were standing around talking, we had to be careful because Ellie Ray had found like a little toy horse that like a kid would ride that they like scoot themselves on. I can't do it as well because I've got we might not be able to see them, but I've got silicone on my pow pads. But little kids will like scoot themselves on the floor with these like little toy horses. Yeah, she was on one of those and she was just like running people over and was kind of run over in a toy by Ellie Ray riding a toy horse. That is a sentence I never thought I would say in my life, but here we are because she's just so wacky and I love it. Not the running over part, but I love everything else about her. But she was like, "Who wants to take a picture with the toy horse?" And I was like I was in the middle of a sentence or in the middle of a story, and she's like, "Hey, do you want to take a picture?" And she's like motioning me to take a picture with this horse, and Anna just looked like you might want to take a picture of the horse first, and might come back and finish your story because she was very insistent. But I'll put one of those pictures up here. And I ended up spending the whole hour with Anna and a group of people. And at one point, we went to go in another room to play Jenga, like the big, oversized Jenga. And so I have a couple pictures of that. We also played cornhole, which is a lot of fun, which I suck at, but it doesn't matter because you're there to have fun and mingle with people, and that's exactly what I did. And it was a great experience. And things like that make me want to get this same badge next year if I can afford it. Because it was a great value for the money. It really was. I enjoyed meeting everyone. I enjoyed socializing with the guests of honor. It was really, really great. They also had an open bar. And I was like, oh, open bar, you say? Again, I don't drink very much, but I'm not paying for it, I'll try something. I did try a cider, it looked like in a beer bottle, but it was a cider and it was pretty good. And I was sipping on that. And I had one, finished one. I had, a third of a second one, and when we finished, I still had it, so I just took it up to the room with me. And it was then when I decided to check the points on it through the Weight Watcher app, and it was like 30 points. And for reference, I had 26 points in a day, and I was like, oh no, 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 no. So I poured the rest of that out. But after that, I think it was around, let's see, probably 7 is when the dinner and then the social hour ended, so that's when I went back on duty. I went back to the room, I changed shirts. Whenever you're on duty, they do ask that you wear this shirt so people know, and so they know that you're on duty. So I went and changed my shirt to this, so I did wear the shirt all week. And though I don't think it ended up smelling bad or anything, I did spray it with a crystal deodorant that I have. I usually use it to spray my exercise clothes, so I had that on me for that. But I also use it for the shirt, and I think it helped. But I was going, roaming around. It was mainly roaming. I think I did sit at the door at the dealer's den for a little bit, just so the convention shop could put their stuff in there and lock up. But it was mainly just roaming all night. That's all I did. Well, no, I'm sorry. I roamed for a while, and then they needed help with. They had another, after dark vendor hall, so the line was nowhere near as crazy as it was the night before. So that's cool. They also had multiple 18 plus panels going on in this hallway over here. So there was the vendor hall here. I forgot the name of the room. I think it was the barley room, the caramel room, and then the fizzy glitch room, named after the 3 mascots. And they all had panels, so we were busy checking IDs and all of that. And so people got mad. Oh, you're just... I don't care. I need to see your ID again. The second you leave this area, you need to show us your ID again. For the most part, unless you... we kind of still check everyone, even if you have on a volunteer shirt. The only people who didn't really check is Charlie and his wife Michelle, the con chairs, because everybody knows who they are. Beyond that, we're checking you. So don't give us lip. Just show us stuff and you could be on your way. People are ridiculous sometimes. But yeah, that went to 2. Because there was one panel, it's just anthology, pony anthology, something like that. I have no idea what it's about. No, I won't say that because I asked, and I think it's pony memes or something, just a bunch of short stuff. That's all I got out of it. But it was incredibly popular, so that definitely required some line management. And when we let people in, it actually got full. We were at capacity. There were some people that kind of stood outside to see if they could, see or whatever. When I went in to kind of, stick my head in and check and all of that, it was very, very hot in that room. Just so many bodies in there. And, I was just roaming around, because we had a few people do it at that station, so I got to get up and look at the other two panels in that area, and then come back and sit down. But yeah, I think I ended at like 2, so it was a very very late night. When I went back to the room, Pink Sands and JD were both asleep, so I had to like stealth shower because I didn't want to wake them up, but I absolutely needed to shower. And I did do a little bit of packing because we had to check out the next day. So before I went up, I did try to extend our checkout time a little bit. The checkout was at noon. I did ask if we could extend it to 1. I said, yeah, that's fine. Beyond that, we'd have to pay extra money, but an extra hour is fine. So I did that. And then I crashed because I was very tired. So in the morning of Sunday, I started with the dealer's den because I could get in earlier as a sponsor. And I think I did a little bit of, after that, I got on duty, switched my shirt, and did some line management for, I think, some of the main events. Because there were a lot of those going on. Those do have separate lines for sponsors. Some panels do, some don't. It's mainly main events, but if a sponsor asks, we can, let them in first, I guess, as long as, they have their sponsor badge on. But it was mainly just kind of some roaming and some door check at the vendor hall. That tends to be one of the biggest door checks that we have. But I did that from like 11 to, I'm sorry, 10 to, what was it, 11 to noon? 11 to 1. No, it's 11 to noon, or 10 to noon. So I did that, and then I went back upstairs to finish packing and check out because now we have to leave. And so we put our stuff in the car, and now it's time for basically the charity auction. Pink Sands and JD didn't want to go to the charity auction. They did other things. I think they went to Brony Church with Ciara, or that might have been before we checked out. I can't remember actually. But that was might have been when I was roaming because I stuck my head in there, and she was talking about the Heartwarming Eve, or not Heartwarming Eve, the Heart. What is it? The Heartwarming Club. There we go. That special episode with the Young Six. And you finding out Gallus is a family, and I started to tear up, and I was like, okay, I need to leave. I need to go before I start crying. They also had another really cool panel that I wanted to go to. It was Anyone Can Sew. It wasn't Rubio Wolf, it was Hibiscus Stitch, another plushie maker. I really wanted to go to that just to get some pointers, but I chose to roam instead. So this is, again, something I need to think about in the future if I do volunteer. I need to just balance my time a bit better. After that, and we checked out, I went to the charity auction. I still needed 3 hours, and the charity auction is 3 hours. So I asked, can I just be in the charity auction and look around and be security there? But if I see something cool, raise my hand and bid. And they're like, yeah, that's totally fine. So charity auction was good. There had a multitude of what do you call it? Hosts and announcers. Foley, I believe, is the main one, and I love her. She's funny. She's definitely the funniest. But beyond that, it was fine. They had some really cool stuff for sale. I did bid on a few things. Only won one thing, but it was the one thing I wanted, and I'll show you that in the next video. I had seen it in like the charity room where you can go in, you can look at all the charity items to get an idea of what's there and what you want to go for. And I saw this, I immediately loved it. It ended up being something slightly different than what I thought it was, but that's okay. That's okay. I can still use it for its original intended purpose in my head. So, the charity auction went really well. I think they raised about 40K. I have to double check. But the charity was the Wisconsin Humane Society, and I loved because they had where you pay is over here. I'm sitting in a chair just popping up every once in a while looking at the crowd, and so we had people in the convention who pay after you win something, and then they had representatives from Wisconsin Humane Society over here, and every time they had big numbers, you could just look over there and they're just because they just can't believe it. But it's a lot of fun. There was a lot of really cool stuff. There was one disturbing picture of Charlie though. I don't know. I can't remember the story behind it. I'll post it here because it's weird. It's I can't remember how much it went for. But yeah, that happened. But after the charity auction, which did not go over an hour and a half this year, oh thank God, there was the closing ceremonies where they talked about stuff with the theme, which I didn't pay attention to. They talked about attendance, which had 994 people, so down a little bit from last year because things were kind of rushed this year. You had less, like a lot of things were announced like within September and October. Like I think the badges were released in late September, early October. I was afraid they'd be released like when I was on the plane to Japan. Luckily, that didn't happen. But so we lost a little bit of attendance just due to that. But it was still very well attended. We raised a lot of money for the charity, and they did have the charity speak, one of the chairs for the charity, and the Wisconsin Humane Society helps people and animals. And she told a story about a woman who was in a domestic violent, what do you call it, like an abusive relationship, and her partner was about to come after her, and her little dog defended her. And she talked about how this woman was able to go to the Humane Society and get a lot of help for herself, for her dog, and she was able to leave that horrible relationship and start a new life. And it was really touching. And what really got us was when she ended it with "That woman was me." This is this woman's story. The chair of the Humane Society. I'm tearing up as I say it, which is bad because I can't wipe my tears away in soup, but it was really moving, and it's just great to know who you're helping whether who we as a fandom and as a group are helping when we have these charity events. The same way with the furry conventions, who also have charity events. They are one of my favorite, I'll say events, not panels. Charity auctions are my favorite event at every single one of these conventions, both furry and brony. It's nice seeing getting cool stuff and even just looking at cool stuff. It's entertaining, but that money does a lot for whatever charity it is, and they've already been picked for next year. So that was really awesome, and it was just a really touching moment. The other thing, the big announcement that Charlie made was because he and his staff do 2 cons a year, which is insane to me. They do Winter City in the summer, and they do Ponyville Ciderfest in the fall. At one point, they had 3 cons. They had MLP, MSP, which I never attended. It died in 2019. But I think they've come to the realization that that's too much to do. That's why they were so behind this year. So they made the announcement that Winnie City will come back in 2026. And they're just going to kind of stagger their conventions. So PVCF will be in 2025. Winnie City will come back in 2026. I'm sure there were some people that were disappointed, but to me that's fine. It gives you more time to plan, to make bigger events. It gives people more time to save for these events. And especially those who only have so much money, you might have to pick one of the. You might be able to go to both now because you have a year to save for this one, and you have a year to save for this one. So I had no issue with it because Winnie City's not going away. It's not MLP MSP. It's just going to be delayed a bit, but it's coming back. Now, totally fine with that. And so after the closing ceremonies, which were awesome, they had, I think Black Griffin was performing. We did not stay for that. We were just going to stay for the closing ceremonies. So we just hopped in the car and head back. And I came home and I died immediately. So, well, I died for a bit, and then I think the next weekend I went and showed my mom like all the merch, all the stuff you'll see in the next video. It's gonna be a lot of merch. It will be in this spot. I'll be on the floor this time. There are gonna be some things that are too small to see. Sorry about that, but yeah, I just need the floor because there's too much stuff. But that's it. That was my Ponyville Ciderfest experience. I can English. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I absolutely loved it. It was a lot of fun. I loved volunteering and meeting different people. I also loved my Alicorn sponsor badge. If I can afford it next year, I absolutely want to do that again. Because I love the sponsor dinner. I love the social hour. I do like not waiting in line for things, because believe it or not, that is a big advantage. As I said, the early access to the vendor hall can also be a huge advantage depending on what you're trying to buy. Especially if it's a plushie, it might be gone by the time the general public is allowed in. So it is definitely worth it, but they are not cheap. Absolutely look at the website and see what they cost and what comes with it, and make that determination if you want to go. because it is seriously not cheap. I believe my Alicorn sponsorship was about $650, and they go up to $2,200 for the Equestria. And I think again the Super Sparkle was maybe $450. I think that was right under me. I'm not sure. I might be missing one. Maybe there's a changeling one. I don't remember. Go on the website. Hi. I know this is definitely something I want to do again. I would love to do it next year. I'm gonna see how next year works. There's something major in my personal life going on. I'm not gonna make the announcement in this video yet. It'll probably be in a subsequent video as long as things go smoothly. So, but I may be financially squeezed a bit next year, which sucks because I'm supposed to be going at least to Spain. My friends want to go to Everton Northwest. I want to go to Ciderfest again. I have GFM because I'm a team member. I don't think I'll be doing Midwest Fur Fest next year, but we'll see about the others. So, yeah, but I absolutely would wholeheartedly suggest Ponyville Ciderfest. Definitely volunteer if you can. Definitely don't wait till 2 days before to volunteer, but do it because you will meet a lot of people, and it's just a really cool way to give back. And also, I think if you do a certain number of hours, you might be able to get a free badge the next year. So, I'm tired. I'm also hungry, so I might go get some lunch. Oh, you guys know the drill. If you like what I do, like, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. The next video is, of course, going to be merch. All of the merch. So much merch. Merch! That's what we're doing. For one of those merch items, I will be wearing it in this video. There will be pictures of how it looks clearly, but yeah, I'm just going to do that for that item. But yeah, we're just going to go through a buttload of merch. So I will see you then. Have a good night.